Hello, fellow humans. It's day 3 of my last 28. This is the video project that I'm doing, series leading up to my 50th birthday. And today's topic is about parents. So let's just start. So what is a parent? Pretty obvious answer to that question. Parent is somebody that's has a child, right? But does that actually create the full definition of a parent? So if you're a parent, does that mean that you actually were involved in the creation of that child? That's one of those questions that I think may never be able to be answered, but let's see where we can get on that. So first part is so how do you become a parent? Now, obviously, there's one guaranteed way to become a parent, where there's some sex involved, and there's a pregnancy involved, and there's a male and a female, and they are parents. But what truly makes a parent? Now, I don't necessarily believe that you have to be the biological parent of a child to be a parent to that child. I'll get into that a little bit longer later. But so one of the crazy things about parenting is, the famous thing is there is no manual for being a parent. There's not a guide. It's not like you bought a television and there's a booklet that you can open up and you can look at and say, this is how I'm to be a parent. There's plenty of parenting books, but you may find that if you were to read some of those parenting books, they're going to give you, this type of scenario and this type of answer. You read another one, it's going to give you a completely different answer for pretty much the exact same scenario. So the fact that there is no manual, that means that we each get to write our own sort of definition of what that is, what a parent actually is. So I think it's quite obvious that we the majority of us have two parents. There was a male and female. You have a father and you have a mother. And so if you have the title of father or have the title of mother, does that make you a parent? Well, you say yes. I would have to think that is what that is you're a father or you're a mother, so you are a parent. But that role that those two people take on, doesn't necessarily mean that they are parenting that child. In our day and age, there's a lot of absentee parents, and but I guess the effects that has on a child is, it's in each individual case that could mean something different. What that means is that parent not being around, or that parent not being involved enough in that child's life. I think being a parent or parenting, it doesn't come natural to some people. I don't think that they have maybe they don't have a strong role model to go off of. Maybe just the opposite. Maybe they had a very strong role model to go off of, and they just, that isn't who they want to be as a parent, or they get different ideas on that. So when you think of a father and a mother, the next natural progression would be grandparents. And I happen to be the grandfather, and my wife happens to be the grandmother of 3 grandchildren. It's crazy how when you become a grandparent, your views on parenting or what makes a parent rapidly changes. Because I don't feel any less of a father to my grandchildren than I do a father to my two daughters. It's as if I get to relive being a parent again with young children. And so, you know, they always say if being a grandparent was like this, I'd had grandchildren first. But obviously that's a progression that can't happen. So in that realm of father, mother, grandparents, there's a natural biological connection, right? You become a parent because you were there, and your biology is part of that child, and you become that parent. But there's one parent I think that I don't think they get enough credit, which is a step parent. I have a step parent, and he's been in my life since I was 5. I guess I can say I got lucky because I ended up with 3 parents. I have a biological dad, I have a biological mother, and then I have a stepdad. And it's an interesting scenario because, you know, I feel I have a great relationship with all 3 of my parents. I have a strong relationship with my biological dad. I have a strong relationship with my mom, and my relationship with my stepfather has grown immensely. You know, I don't think we saw eye to eye, and maybe in some aspects we still don't, but I don't think I saw eye to eye with him until I came back from the military and being gone and having children of my own, and then getting the opportunity to really recognize what he as a step parent did. And I don't think step parents get that recognition. I'm lucky. I get to know my biological father because that tells me where I came from. I've gotten to know, and I was raised a majority of the time by my stepfather, and I see where I have traits of his because he took on the role of a parent. He took that job on willingly, and sometimes unfairly mistreated by myself, but to no fault of his own. And I think that's a very unsung job, and I think it's unfortunate that step parents don't get the recognition that they should, and a lot of times they don't get the recognition by the children that they take on that role for until the children are later in life and possibly become parents of their own, and then they recognize the job that person took on. And then there's another type of parent that I don't think people think about, and that is what I would classify as like the non-blood parent. And what I mean by that is I have some very close male friends of mine, and my daughters refer to them as their other fathers. I think back to one of my daughters getting into trouble, and she was petrified of telling her other dads what she did. And they treated her as their daughter. And I know that if any of my daughters needed the assistance, those men that I know and cherish in my life would step up and take my place if I wasn't there in any regard, if I just wasn't available or if I was gone. So I think people should sort of look around, find their non-blood parents that are in their life that have affected their children. Sometimes you call them an uncle, but they're still a parent. And so that, you know, that's my thought on sort of like the types of parents. But so, you know, there's always a question: is a parent always right? Are they they right in the decisions they make? And you won't know that. I really don't think that. Has my decisions always been correct? Not even close. I would grade myself on the parent scale of a high C, low B. I think both of my children are brilliant and intelligent. Are they down the paths that I would want them to be down? Not necessarily. But as a parent, you sort of have to accept that, right? There's a point in time where your parent role changes to almost a guidance role, a sort of like a parental consultant, if you will, where you're consulting in those roles. My oldest daughter has become a parent, and we've had several conversations about it where she will say, "Oh my God," and I just laugh. I just smile on the phone because I know it's what she's going through. And I give advice if asked, sometimes not asked, and then we move on from there. So I don't think parents are always right. I think sometimes they get it wrong, and I think one of the strengths of a parent should be that they admit when they're wrong, and show some humility, and show your children what that looks like. I mean, who am I to tell somebody how to parent? But still, so then there's there's two different types of parenting. There is what they would call an old school, and then what you would call new school. So I was raised in old school, wooden spoon, wash your mouth out with soap. You were afraid to come home and find out what was going on, or if you got into trouble, you just hoped that they didn't find out. And there was a lot of because I said so, and because I told you, and there was no talking back. There was no rolling your eyes. There was sort of corporal punishment was part of life as I grew up. And then as you move forward, people said, well, that's not healthy for children. So you have new school parenting, where you try to reason with your children, and you try to talk to your children, and you, at some point in time, there is a point in time where because I said so, I think works, because a child may not have the intellect to understand why they can't put the fork in the outlet. I mean, but why? And that's one of those things where you're going to say, well, go ahead and do it and learn your lesson. It's not like touch the hot thing. But I think I think the new school parenting went a bit too far, and I think there's got to be a happy medium, and I really think that happy medium may be coming back. It's okay to have a healthy fear of your parents. It's okay. That turns into respect, and a respectful fear is what I would consider it, and I think that's okay. And I think parents don't gain the respect from their children like they should. And I think respect is earned, but I don't think in a parent-child relationship that respect should be something that a child also demands in return. There is respect to be given, but I honestly believe that some respect or more respect should be paid to parents. But I think it's also our own fault. So it's a slippery slope, but I believe that's our own fault. So then you may ask the question, is a parent's job ever done? Is it ever over? And I would say as my children get older, no, I will always be their parent. I will always give advice, unrequested advice. You may not take it, you may not like it. I will probably be proven to be right because life has just given me those experience. I am about to turn 50, and so I have experience. I've been a parent since I was 21. So I've actually been a parent longer than I've been alive, longer than I've not been a parent. The last one didn't make sense, did it? No. So I've been a parent longer than not, and I find it that my job will never be over, and I hope that my children would want me to continue doing that job. Want it or not, I will. So I'll ask you the question: do you consider yourself a good parent? And if that's the case, what do you measure yourself against? Do you measure yourself against your parents? Do you measure yourself against television parents? Do you measure yourself against an ideal aspect of what parents could be? Because I don't think there's a scale you can go. Are you a good parent? Are you not a good parent? I think as long as your children are you're not in some way mentally, physically, God forgive, sexually abusing them, then you've checked off the mark of you can be qualified as a good parent. If you're trying your best to be there for those children, I would consider you a good parent. If you spend as much time as you can with those children, and not in the spoiling kind, but the educational kind, the life lessons kind, I think you could be classified as a good parent. But that's really the definition you have to know or give yourself. I will close with a few things in saying that I've told my children, and I've told other people, that being a parent is the easiest, the hardest, the happiest, the saddest, most enjoyable, scariest thing you'll ever do in your life. Nothing will bring you more joy, and nothing will bring you more sorrow than being a parent. And until you become a parent, you didn't know that that's what you wanted to be. But if you're honest with yourself, and the first time you hold your child, something clicks. Like I stated about love, something clicks, and you just know that you have to be a parent. Some people don't step up to the challenge. They will find in their life that that's a shame that they will wish they would be able to return. So remember, it's the longest job you'll ever work, hours, length, for nothing. That will bring you the greatest reward you could ever ask for. I love my parents. I love being a parent. It's one of the best things I've ever gotten a chance to do. And I hope there are people out there that feel the same. And with that, I'll end it. I'm very interested in your comments. Please tell me what your thoughts are, what you think. Please share this video, and until next time, we'll talk soon.